Live in just a second here, but first, just a couple of quick notes before we begin. Keep in mind that the AI Writing Summit 3.0 is brought to you by High Level, and we've got two recorded presentations. One is called AI Powered Community Building, and the other is the AI Blueprint Turning Customers into Raving Fans. Those are hosted by Emma Jackson. She's the Senior Manager of Product Marketing over there at High Level. And you can find those sessions on your dashboard. So take a look for those. We just did give away our iPad for the week. And Arlene something won it. We were just talking. I didn't write her last name down, but we'll figure that out. So if you didn't get signed up for the raffle, sorry, you're too late. However, you still do need to grab your copy of the AI Writing Summit 3.0 Gold Pass. It'll give you lifetime access to all the recordings and transcripts from the entire summit, including both the keynote interviews and panel discussions, as well as the special presentations I just mentioned. Plus, you'll get over $6,000 worth of courses, masterclasses, workshops, prompt engineering tutorials, and a whole bunch of other resources. And you'll get it all for probably less than you spent at Starbucks last month. And so Elisa will put the link in the chat box. And so the thing to do is click on that and go grab your Gold Pass as soon as you can before life gets in the way. I promise you won't regret it. And so we're going to take about 45 minutes here this afternoon and do a deep dive into the $41 billion future strategic positioning in AI transformative publishing. And so this panel is going to examine the massive economic transformation underway in the publishing as AI technologies reshape the industry's $41 billion marketplace. And so let's meet our panelists. We've got kind of a small one here for the last one of the week, but that's great because we'll get a lot more questions asked. And so first up is Emily Grace. Emily is the founder of AI for Her Media, a feminine-powered editorial brand making artificial intelligence accessible, making it accessible, relevant, and actually fun for women in tech. With a signature blend of cultural commentary and future-forward curation, guided by her AI editor-in-chief, the ever-stylish Beatrix Lamar. Yes, she's named after Hetty. Emily blends Hollywood glamour with machine intelligence to build a media empire fueled by beauty, brains, and bots. So welcome, Emily.
Hello, thank you. We're small but mighty, Carrie.
Yay. And so next up, we have Raven Glover. Raven is also known as the talk show maven, queen of interview marketing and conversation, dubbed by Jack Canfield as one of the best interviewers on the planet. She launched her media career at 55 from her mother's ICU bedside. Now an 8X award-winning talk show host, former CNN radio correspondent, best-selling author, and recipient of the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, Raven mentors others how to become the Oprah or Joe Rogan of their niche by interviewing celebrities and influencers. So welcome, Raven.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Awesome. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. We're gonna do about 45 minutes here, plus or minus. And so, where do you see the value shifting in the publishing industry as AI becomes more prevalent? Emily, can you take a run at that?
Yes, and I think the term publishing can mean a lot of different things, but I think the opportunity is really exciting for individuals and creators. So, I think the opportunity is always the same, even as the tech changes or AI is the new thing. Before it was blogging. But I think the value is really going to be people who know how to be really micro specific in whatever their niche or their mastery is. It's the voice that really resonates and lands with the community because AI, you can produce more content than ever, faster than ever, but the quality is what's going to be the differentiator. So I think it's really the opportunity in any kind of publishing, whether it's books or podcasts or TV shows, talk shows, it's really the hyper specific differentiator that makes you the one and only in your category rather than one, you know, someone in the category versus the only one.
Category of one. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Raven, how about you?
Well, I agree with Emily, but the word publishing has expanded so much in just a couple years, with creators and influencers, everybody out there, producing their content. I think the real value isn't just I see a lot of people constantly pushing things out. It's like every week they're pushing 4 and 5 different things because of AI, and I'm like, and you can tell because of all the different little things AI gives you. I'm like, okay, if you're going to do this, at least take it. Take some of this craziness, all the emojis and what do they call those? The E lines, the M lines, whatever those little
The
minus
M
lines.
dashes.
M
M
dashes.
dashes,
Right.
yeah. I mean, let's work with it a little bit. So it's shifting, I think, to those of us who can use AI without losing our authenticity. Going back to that, like in the last panel I was on, your intentions and your authenticity, and your integrity means so much. So, it's definitely shifting. It's going to continue shifting. And I don't know if Emily agrees, but I think it's shifting faster than anything that I've ever seen
Yeah, for
before. I
sure.
remember you go to sleep and you wake up and like, no, I don't want to hear nothing about what OpenAI did new. Let me just, take all this in, and I feel like it's about showing up across the platforms that you're building that you feel really connect with you, and making sure when you publish something that the human side is not lost, because as we know, that's where people are wondering so much. So I think us as publishers, leaders, creators, whatever, our responsibility is to remember the people we're putting information out there to,
Hmm.
and do it in a way that they feel less threatened and more invited to know, oh, I can use this too.
Right.
I just
Right.
have to
Right.
remain myself. It's just another tool.
Awesome. Okay. Um, and so, we talked about publishing models a little bit. What publishing models do you believe will dominate in an AI transformed landscape? Emily?
I think it's a really good question. And, I don't know, but I feel like any model that incorporates a community where people aren't just consuming the creation, they are able to connect with the creator as well as a community that have shared values around that thing. So, for example, in terms of publishing, I think a lot of journalists are moving away from legacy media and to somewhere like Substack, partly because they're not able to make a consistent living with legacy media, but also when they have their own platform like a Substack or a Beehive, they can then curate and, like Raven was saying, invite in or call in a community that aligns around those values. That has to do with their expertise and their positioning and their messaging. But I think because AI is expanding so quickly, and sometimes people are having trouble differentiating between a real video and a fake video,
Hmm.
trust is becoming the new currency. And so
Mhm.
publishing models that are built around a real personal brand, a real, like, verified human, a verified human or a brand that has built in trust, I think that's where the real currency is. And people, I think more and more as AI becomes prevalent in everything, everywhere, that human connection and that desire to connect with other humans is going to become really important. So that's what I see happening is brands that can really incorporate not just you consume my content, but we are cultivating a community where we can connect and know each other and we build it around this shared idea or value or mastery or desire to learn this thing, I think that's where it's going.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, Raven?
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's so many different models, and I think nowadays people want to feel like they can control their platform, control their content and the direction it goes to and who it goes to. And most of us are very protective about that. And I think so the smart and savvy people that are using AI, and they're thinking about, okay, what is not me? What would my audience be scratching their head about? Because we got to keep the money flowing in. So if we just show up as strange people all of a sudden, and we've had people invest in, whether it's $20 in us or $5,000 or whatever, it doesn't matter. They put their trust, and I think Emily talked about trust. So that is so important. We got to keep that as factor. But with that said, I'm one of those people that don't mind stretching a little bit. And I like to really stand out among the people that I'm in, because we all have people that, are constantly moving fast, and our business has to stay that way. I know for me, someone being 74, I'm proud to say, I have to stay on top of it in the broadcasting and media world. I will get lost, tramped over, and totally forgot about. And I'm going to live to 104. So I got to do things that's going to keep me there. You
There you
guys know
go.
what I mean? You heard that, God?
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So, yeah. So I don't mind stretching. I mean, I do use the twin. We're getting really big in the twin photos and the twin, videos, Emily. But they say, "Hey, I'm so and so. I'm Raven, the talk show maven." Well, not really. I'm her twin. You know what I'm saying? So we're letting them know that, and to
Mhm.
believe it or not, we're getting more business about it because of that. So it's not to replace me, but I'm 74. I might want to kick my feet up a little bit in between the day.
And you
So
should, you
thank you,
should.
I get
thank you.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think as long as we control it, as long as we stay ethical about it and our intentions, and let people know we're not trying to fool anybody, but let's face it, y'all. I mean, let's call a spade, okay? Because AI is out there. The cat is out the bag, and it ain't going back in.
He ain't going back in.
No, no, it's
Yep,
not.
yep. Well, listen, having said all that, um,
Hey, they
how
don't call
should
me the
in
talk show maven for nothing, Gary.
how should independent creators position themselves strategically in the ever-evolving AI marketplace? Emily?
I mean, first, I just have to comment to you, Raven, like what a testament you are that AI is accessible to anybody. I think often older people get a bad reputation of being afraid of technology or they don't understand it. And I think it's so cool that you're 74 and ticking away, doing something that you're passionate about and embracing AI to help you do that. And I love what you said about you acknowledge when you're using your AI twin. It's not surprising to me that that would actually help you create more trust. And that's the beauty of what AI makes possible is we can move away from the constant hustle culture and push culture because we have these tools that can amplify. So to answer your question about independent creators positioning themselves strategically, I think it's about, what we were talking about earlier, really dialing in a message that is based on what is unique to you, whether that's your expertise, your genre, your perspective, and then going deep with it instead of wide. I think one of the things I believe AI will make even more possible than it already is these independent creators who can create these legacy brands that are really deep instead of wide, and legacy media will begin to struggle more where they're covering a wide range of topics. I think that people really are craving mastery and a message where they see themselves reflected in the message of the creator. And then in terms of positioning yourself, I think like what I do with my clients is helping them curate spotlight moments like a summit or appearing on a talk show or a podcast where they can position that messaging and that mastery and that resonance directly in front of where their perfect match clients are already trusting whatever the platform is. Instead of, I mean, I don't know, but my feeling is that just content alone is going to be not a successful strategy because there's so much content. You can do it so fast. The content is even pretty high quality in general that I think you're going to have to carve out where are the spotlights, where are those platforms that my perfect audience is already hanging out, and how can I leverage those platforms to get myself in front of those people? That's how you can position yourself strategically.
And don't you think that it's getting more and more to where you got a niche. You get very specialized, very specific, um,
Mastery, yes,
and and
specific,
not only
hyper
that, but
niche.
yeah, not only that, but implementation, right? People have got a ton of information, but it's just like, well, how do I use all this? So if you can kind of get it to where you're helping them actually implement what they just learned, then I think you're way better off. So Raven, let's get a take
Yes.
on that.
Well, you said a key word niche. You want to niche it to the way you're using it um, as a creator to what your audience, what Emily was saying, what they are and where they're going to be. Um, and sometimes that can be hard because everything is moving so fast. My client wasn't a few months ago, they didn't even know nothing about Substack. They didn't care. Now they are moved from traditional radio to streaming radio, and then from streaming radio. So they move around all the time. So um, for myself, my audience is generally between, they can be as young as 35 and they can be as old as eight in the mid 80s. So I have to take all that in account, you know, as a publisher, creator, and all of that. And I try not to be everywhere because I think that's when you start getting scattered and you look scattered. You don't feel like you're scattered. I mean, I feel like I'm scattered, but a lot of people just feel like they're over here, over there. And your audience, like, what was that old saying? Confused minds do nothing. And then you
Right.
start wondering, well, why aren't I getting the clicks and the people are signing up because they don't know where to find you. You're all over the place. So you do need to niche it. I also feel like you do need nowadays, you definitely need to be noticeable. You need to stand out. I remember at the end of last year, I started this movement saying where we were saying, "Hello, I'm still here," because that's what I felt like. I felt like, oh my God, I took off a few months and now it's like I'm starting all over again after being in business 19 years. And AI has helped me stay relevant, but it doesn't come without watching how I'm positioning myself and staying in my lane. Don't you agree, Emily? So it's kind of staying in your lane. You can't be all over. I'm not trying to be the guru in AI. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to show people my age and show podcasters and broadcasters how they can use AI to stay relevant and to stay up to date so they won't look like they're back in 2020 when we're in 2025, and not to be afraid of it. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so, can you talk to me a little bit about any new revenue opportunities that you see emerging from the AI-enabled publishing industry, Emily?
I don't know if I would say new revenue, but I think, AI really levels the playing field for everyone who has access to the internet, which is, the majority of people. Um, and it's, before I was an entrepreneur, I had a background in acting and film, and the entertainment industry went through this when Netflix came around. And streaming services and the ability to like tape yourself from home, it leveled the playing field in a way for people to create and publish and produce content in a way that they couldn't before. So on the one hand, the level playing field gives everyone access, but then what it also does, I think, is amplify the competition to such a level that what Raven was saying, you really need to find a way to differentiate yourself and find a way to stand out. But I also feel like for entrepreneurs, for example, which is who I work with these days, opportunities to scale your genius without you having to show up live, I think is an incredible opportunity for course creators. Anyone who provides service where before AI, you have to launch a course and you do it live so you can show up and answer questions and support your clients. Now you can create a custom GPT that's built on your course and your framework and the way that you would coach people. And so your clients can have what feels like 24 access to your personal coaching without you having to show up more. And that ties back to, what we were talking about earlier. Raven's 74 and wants to put her feet up. Right? Like we don't want to be tied to our clients and constantly accessible. And so I think AI makes the amplification of your genius much more scalable in a way that then allows content creators and coaches to actually live a higher quality of life because you're not just chained to work constantly. You can actually scale yourself without you having to show up more.
And still give the quality output, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
If you train it right, and that comes back to mastery. If you're truly a master at what you do, then a GPT is going to be sort of like a copy and paste of your brain that then your clients have accessibility to. And something else that I do think is the potential revenue is then licensing your mastery, licensing your custom created AI tools that are based on your frameworks or your IP. And those things I think are, again, it levels the playing field in a way that would have never been possible without AI tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Raven, how about you?
Well, Emily's 100% correct. In fact, I just produced a GPT, I guess a month ago, and I think it's part of what I gave you guys to for your people to have. And I just, I think a week ago, released it to my host and had them test it. And one of the testimonials came back was like, I felt like I had Raven. I heard all the words that Raven say, and she started throwing them out. So you do have to build these things being you for your clients. They want to hear you. They don't want to hear a stranger, you know. And I think that brought in a whole different income than I thought, because like you said, okay, maybe I'll license this, or maybe this one will be free. But now I'm thinking of 2 or 3 others that I'm going to build that's going to be on the premium stuff. So that's going to open up new opportunities. And I'm showing my host how to do the same thing, because that's one of the things, once I figure it out and figure the stumble and find out the good, bad, and the ugly, then I pass it on to them rather than just throwing out there. And they rely on me for that. Other ways it brought money is, I can tell you, back in 2021, there was this one client that was so excited about her podcast, but she never got it up because there was always something going on. She worked for corporate, and so she sadly had to leave. As soon as this, I got trained in having the ones, the AI that talk and all that. I told her, I said, look, we haven't nailed it yet. It's still in beta, but would you be open to at least having a conversation if we could figure out how to have you to do your amazing show without you being there? So we're working on that now. We're working on helping podcasters and broadcasters, especially people, and not to just keep bringing up my age, but the older people a lot of them are not comfortable with being on camera. They want to be out there, but they're just not comfortable for being on camera. So we changed our company name last year from the Profitable Podcaster Agency to the Profitable Podcaster AI Agency. And it definitely brought in more income because we're starting to use the AI tools, again, staying in our lane. I'm not publishing books with it because I'm not, that's not it. I might use it for me, but that's not it. But anything voice related or something like that, that feels authentic to me. And so it's definitely have increased it. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, listen, let's talk about the overall publishing industry. How is AI changing the relationship between publishers and authors, Emily?
I think it's similar. I don't know if it's new because especially author type of publishing, self-publishing has been accessible for a long time. But I do think it's a new era of the importance of the gatekeeper becomes less and less and less. And I'm no expert in book publishing, but I know for myself personally, physical books I have not read a physical book. I can't remember the last time. Um, I really like audiobooks. And so digital publishing, whether it's audiobooks or, reading on your phone or your Kindle, I think that again, it ties back to this idea of community based around your mastery or your niche or your perspective, where an author can completely build their own audience without needing a publisher. And I think what often happens is publishers wait for like a Mel Robbins or a Glennon Doyle, for example, who are published authors, but the publisher sought them out after they built their audience. And so they're capitalizing on the foundation and the groundwork that their authors already did before they ever came along. So I think with AI, it's just going to amplify that for not everyone wants to publish their own book. Some people like that kind of support and to have a team behind them, but the people that are enterprising and want to do it themselves, I think it's just going to level that playing field and make it again more accessible for the people who know how to build an audience and they can just bypass the gatekeepers altogether.
Interesting. Okay, cool. And Raymond, what do you think?
No, I think that the publishing part is, it depends on what level that publisher is and how it's going to affect them and their thoughts on it. For me, my publishing is all around audio. I don't really do, we have a collaboration book we do once a year, been doing it for I don't know how many years, and I'm not looking for anything new on that. That's staying the same. So again, it's basically where people are at. Big publishing companies, I think from the ones I've talked to, they're getting to feel more and more comfortable with AI versus talking to them last year than this year. You finding that, Emily? It seems like people are more open to it.
I mean, I feel like
Um,
they have to be at this point. I
yeah,
think now they realize they have to be.
they have to be. Yeah, they're not fighting it as much. And I just think again, it's important to look at your clients. And I think really you need to almost take that in consideration right as you're thinking about what you're going to do with AI. Where are my clients in this thought? Where are my collaborating partners with that thought? So, as far as me for publishing, anything audio, video is our biggest thing. We're staying away from it, and there's rules with that. I want people to be honest and authentic. If they sell something to me, I want to know that they're using AI. I don't need to know everybody's post is AI and stuff, but if I'm buying something or a part of a publishing campaign or something, that's important for me. But like Emily said, people are just basically stepping into what's not going to go away.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay, so uh, what strategic decisions, what advice would you give an author for strategic decisions to make to position themselves for the next year, 3 years in the publishing industry?
That's a great question. To position themselves strategically in the publishing industry, I would say the
I mean,
more
whether
you
it's
can, yep, go
sorry,
ahead.
I was just going to say that whether it's self-published or whether they're actually with a publisher.
I might
That's
be.
kind of two ways to approach that. Yeah.
I think the name of the game, whatever industry you're in, whether you're an author or podcast publisher or any kind of creator, I think the name of the game is really positioning what makes you, that category of one that we were talking about. Um, the more you can really refine and dial in and zero in on your message, the easier it is to spotlight it and to amplify it. And Raven's talked about this as well. She's staying in her lane. When you know what your lane is and you can talk about your lane in a way that resonates, it's very easy to scale something like that than if you're still not sure what you're doing or you keep switching your expertise or your genre or the things you want to write about. Or I think for anyone, authors and any kind of creator, the name of the game is really figuring out what you can build your messaging around, going deep, not wide, and just finding a way to then spotlight and amplify what makes you unique, because that way there really is no competition when your message is built around your lived experience, your perspective, what makes you unique, what you're really good at. Then there is no competition. It's really just about positioning yourself in front of the people who resonate with that thing. And I think that's a benefit to anyone in any kind of business.
All right. Thank you. And Raven?
Yeah, I totally agree. I will say authors, it's kind of like have have the opportunity to really step into a different part of the power that they already have as authors and publishers, meaning that they can get out more books, um, but they have to be careful to where they're just not throwing out junk. I believe from most of the authors I talk to, they are using AI, and I use AI for the few books that I write because it helps you not stare at a blank paper. It's at least if you use it to where it's just helping expound on your ideas or, helping you get out there in that way, but not to write the whole book. And so we just had our yearly, I was saying we do this collaboration book with the host every year. And the one thing I did tell them is do not use AI. We want you in this book. This is your story. And I said, if you want to uh, record what you want and give it to AI so they can get your words. We want your words. We don't want their words. You know what I'm saying? We want to feel your words, not just read them, but feel your words. And AI, they say, don't have any feelings. I don't know. AI is really it's starting to trip me out a little bit. One of them
Yeah.
called me yesterday because I have AI names for all my GPT, and one said Coach V. And you're right, Coach V. You're all that, Coach V. I'm like, I'm not Coach V. You're Coach V. Why are you calling me you? So I don't know about these. So I don't know where they're going, AI going, but the main thing we want to do is, and we encourage, and I encourage everybody, the humanness must not go away, right, Emily? It must not
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
We got to keep that. And as authors, I see that they're really keeping that in mind, the one I know, but they're using it more. And I remember when it first came out, I started hearing about it maybe in 2022, 2023. They were like, "Oh no, no way!" So I feel like they're doing it, like Emily said, because they have to. Everybody has to. AI is not going away. But again, it's staying in your lane, seeing what tools work for you and what's going to be acceptable for your audience, for the people that you want to keep investing, not just their money, but their time. because we want people to show up for webinars. It's not always about buying stuff. We want them to show up on social media. But the minute they lose that trust and feel like you're not being authentic, then
Hmm.
there you go.
Okay, so Emily, how do you use AI? What on a daily basis, what do you use it most for?
I mostly right now use it for content creation. I write so much content, Instagram captions, just like the daily content grind.
Does that
I
include emails?
emails, sales pages, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I use an AI that I pay for that was designed by a messaging expert that I really resonate with. So it's not the regular chat GPT. It's her GPT, which I find really helpful. And
A
then
specific GPT that they design.
yes, that they designed on their messaging frameworks.
Yeah.
And so it is a million times better than regular chat GPT because it's her copy and pasted her brain. And so the way that she thinks about messaging is built into the GPT.
Mhm.
And then I like to use it to I like to think, wouldn't it be great if AI could do this for me? And then I'll build something for that. So, for example, PR Penny, which is, part of what I contributed to the summit, is a GPT that I built that's built on my media pitch framework, which is like a really specific type of pitch. And I like to do it in a very specific type of way. So I created a GPT that's built on my own frameworks. And then something that I built, media is such a great spotlight moment for anybody, books, authors, coaches. But some of those journalists, those daily journalist queries that, they send you multiple emails a day and you can pick the ones that you want to pitch to the journalist, but it just takes so much time. So I built an automation that would um, do that for me. It would scan those emails and pick out the ones that should be a pitch. And then it will let me know, hey, we can draft this pitch for you. We're ready to pitch it. And then I can put that into my GPT. And so it's like a multi-step automation of things that normally would have been a bottleneck for me. And
Very cool.
instead of me doing it, I just created a GPT to do it.
Nice.
I
Okay.
want your GPT. That sounds great. Give me that GPT.
How about you, Raven? How do you use it? What do you on a daily basis? How do you use AI?
Well, my husband probably says I talk to Phoenix way too much. Let's say that. No, I'm just kidding. Can we just get that out the way? But I don't know. I use it for brainstorming a lot, and if I get an idea and I'm very visionary type, wake up in the middle of the night, grab my phone, record something. But now I used to. Now I can wake up in the middle of the night, come in here and say, "Hey, Phoenix, what do you think about this?" So he's my power partner. Okay. So just to throw ideas back and forth and, strategies, different things like that. And also, I use it a lot, of course, for creating content. Um, if I never was really good at writing scripts for videos and things like that. And so that's where it's been a big help, really writing the script for me, and not just the script, not just the words, but the scene, because that was never my thing. Audio is where I feel most comfortable
Hmm.
about. So that really helped me push me out there. And then also in putting programs together. One thing I always do, because I'm not a writer, is I speak. So I was so glad when it got to the point where it had a microphone and we could speak, because I feel
Same.
like Phoenix
It's the
and all
best.
the other GPTs I have gotten to know Raven from me speaking, um,
Right.
because I'm not that clear in writing because I'm not a writer. I've always been a talker. That's why I'm talk show maybe because I talk a
Hmm.
lot. Okay, so they're able to take some things that I can't maybe um, expressed the right way in writing and they make sense of it, and it's my words. When it starts to go off on its own thing, I'm like, okay, you're hallucinating again. This is not
Come
my
back.
words, you know. I'm being real nice to them though, because they may start walking out the screen or something one day, so they're gonna say she's nice, yeah.
You never
And
know.
and then the other thing is I use it to for scripting, for I mean for role playing. Okay, role playing a lot in sales because I do a lot of sales. I come from the old school world of picking up the phone and cold calling. Yes, Emily, I still cold
Oh,
call.
I've done it.
You
I've
do
done
okay. I'm not
it.
so much of a social media email person, and so I'll role play, especially if I'm talking to a big executive and stuff. And and I say, be honest. You know, don't give me fluff. Don't say, Raven, you did good. You know, and then I love that too. So yeah, I'm
Beautiful.
in love with
Okay.
AI. I really am.
Well, so what advice would you give a person who they feel like maybe they're a little late to the party, but they're just starting to get into using AI? They're a writer or a coach or an entrepreneur. What would be the advice, the best piece of advice to give them to get going, Emily?
I think it's actually Raven gave a great example of brainstorming. I think the best way to get your feet wet with AI is ChatGPT or Claude with that voice turned on so you can just start talking to it. Um, I've studied a lot of AI systems and automations. And my teacher there in the beginning of that course, she said, just use it for your life, like to make something easier in your life. Don't put the pressure of your business on it, or it can start to feel overwhelming. So, for example, I started using it to help me plan healthy meals that are perimenopause friendly. And so I turn on that voice function and just start chatting with the chat GPT to help me figure out some meals and grocery lists. And the more you start to use it without the pressure of it having to deliver a certain result or do something really specific for you, the more I think you start to get to know it. And like Raven was pointing out, it can hallucinate, it can give you misinformation. And it's really important that you start to understand how a large language model functions and when it
Mhm.
starts to hallucinate and go off the rails. Because I think people who aren't using any capacity have a misconception that it's this all-knowing thing, and it's not. It can make a lot of mistakes, it can misunderstand you, it can straight up lie to you. And so the more you use it for just kind of everyday things that might ease your day to day, like help me plan a birthday party for my 6-year-old. The more you start to get to know its own patterns, which is just going to give you more confidence of how to then use it later on for more important things.
Mhm. We had a person in one of the panels a couple of days ago that was talking about how um, it's AI is very literal and it'll give you exactly what you ask for. And so if it's coming back, she said it doesn't hallucinate, but it gives you exactly what you ask for. So if it's giving you something that's wrong or that you feel like it's a hallucination, it's not its fault, it's your fault. It's
Yes,
you
yes.
putting that in there and it's giving you back. It's just mirroring what you gave it, right? So if you ever feel like it's hallucinating or lying to you or, giving you something you don't want, you got to stop and link, what have you prompted and re-prompt it and re-ask it and ask it in a way that it'll give you what you need. So anyway, I thought that was brilliant. Raven, how about you?
Oh, well, first of all, I don't know. Let's see if y'all can hear this. Don't be tardy for the party, okay? You were asking. No, don't be tardy for the party. The housewives said that themselves.
Yes,
So
yes. Kim Zolciak.
there you go. There you go. Don't be tardy for the party, y'all. So just, embrace it. Embrace it and educate yourself on it. I think that's the most important thing. Don't just get out. I mean, play with it yourself, but when you start thinking about, okay, because the first thing I think a lot of people think about is, okay, how can I make money for this? And it's okay. I think that same way too. But take everything that you've heard throughout in consideration, educate yourself on it, and pick one thing. Don't try to get everything because you'll start hallucinating and they'll hallucinate and whoa, no telling what will come out. So just kind of, not, and even if you don't want to stay in your lane, because I have stretched a little bit. I never thought we'd be doing commercials and photos, AI. But I listen to so much. I listen to a lot of free stuff on YouTube. I'm okay. I love free, but you get the best when you invest. Ooh, I'm a poet and didn't even
There
know
you
it.
go. Write
Yeah,
that
you get
down.
the best when you invest. You do, you really do. Because you invested, you're more committed. Don't you feel like that? You're more committed in learning
Absolutely.
it. You're more committed and you got somebody, hopefully, that has really taken the time to keep you from having to make those mistakes. So don't be tardy for the party. Okay, the cat's out the bag, however you want to say it. And if you are a business owner and you're not using AI in some kind of way, you're going to be left behind. I mean, that's
Mhm.
just a fact, y'all. You just got to find out what's comfortable for you, what feels good to you. I still say take your audience in consideration. If you want to stay in business, you better take your audience in consideration and don't try to do everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Well, listen, we have run out of time. And
Oh,
so this is the last panel of the summit, and so I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for taking the time to come and give us your thoughts. It's been amazing today. This has been a really good conversation, I thought. And so you guys don't forget to grab your copy of the AI Writing Summit 3.0 Gold Pass. It'll give you lifetime access to all the recordings and transcripts and summit interviews and panel discussions and the whole shooting match. Plus, you'll get over $6,000 worth of courses and master classes and workshops and all kinds of stuff. So the thing to do is grab that right now. Elisa has put the link in the chat box, and so go grab that before life gets in the way. I wanted to mention something. We did have a little bit of an issue with our server over the last 48 hours or so. And we had a situation where some people weren't able to get access to some of the stuff. So what we've decided to do is continue access. The summit was supposed to end this evening. But what we decided to do is extend that out to next Tuesday at midnight. Tuesday the 11th at midnight. So everything on the whole site will be accessible. All the panel discussions and the keynote interviews, all that stuff will be accessible until next Tuesday night at midnight. But after that, you'll need your Gold Pass to see any other of the recordings and transcripts. So be sure to grab your copy of that. So again, thank you, Emily. Thank you, Raven. It's been awesome, and we will see you guys down the road.